So the next internal genital organ, that is the uterine tube or the fallopian tube. So this one. So the uterine tube, these are a pair of ducts which transmit the ova from ovaries to that the uterine cavity. So each tube, it is about the 10 centimeter long and lies in the upper free margin of the broad ligament. Then the external features of the uterine tube. So it presents, that is the two ends. So here that is the lateral end and this is the medial end. So let's see, that is the ends of the uterine tube. So first, that is the medial end. So that is the medial end, it opens into the lateral angle of the uterine cavity. The uterine opening, that is called the ostium. So this one, it is called the ostium. It is 1 mm in diameter. So here in the another diagram you can see, this is, that is the ostium, which is 1 mm in diameter. Then the lateral end. So here this one, that is the lateral end. So lateral end, that is also called the fimbriated end. So it communicates with the peritoneal cavity close to that the ovary by piercing the posterior layer of the broad ligament. Then it curves downwards and inward and partly to encircle that the ovary. The abdominal ostium, it is 3 mm in diameter and its margin possess irregular small finger-like projection. So here you can see, it is called the fimbria. Hence it is known as the fimbriated end. Then the parts of the fallopian tube or the uterine tube. So for this, here you can see, that is the another diagram, that is for the parts. So it should be divided from lateral to medial side into that the 4 part. So that is the infundibulum, this one, then that is the ampulla, then the isthmus and the intramural part. So let's see, that is the infundibulum of the fallopian tube or the uterine tube. So the length of, that is the infundibulum, it is near about 1 centimeter long and it is a funnel shape. So here you can see, and lateralmost part which projects beyond the broad ligament of the uterus. Then it overlies the ovary and presents an abdominal ostium. So here you can see, it overlies the ovary and present abdominal ostium. Then the circumference of the funnel, it is prolonged by varying in numbers of irregular process called the fimbria. So here you can see, that is the finger-like projection, it is called the fimbria. One of the fimbria, it is longer and more deeply grooved than the other and it is closely applied the tubal extremity of the ovary and it is called the ovarian fimbria. So this one, that is the longest. So it is called the ovarian fimbria. So this ovarian fimbria, it is act as a sensor to time the release of ovum, and just before the release of ovum, the fimbria start sweeping the surface of the ovary and facilitate the entrance of ovum into that the fallopian tube. So here in this diagram you can see, that is, this is the ovarian fimbria, and as that is the ovum is comes out, so that the all fimbria, it should be facilitate the ovum into that the uterine tube. Then next to it, that is the ampulla. So this one, that the inflamed part or the ampullatory part, it is called the ampulla. So for this, here you can see, this is the ampulla. So the ampulla, it is near about 5 centimeter long and it is the widest and the longest part of the uterine tube, and it form rather 1/2 entire the tube, more than the 1/2 of the entire tube. It is thin walled and the tortuous. So here in this diagram you can also see, that is the tortuous shape. It is the site of the fertilization of the ovum. Then next to it, that is the isthmus. So this one, and this part, isthmus. So it is near about 2.5 to 3 centimeter in length, and it is the narrowest part and lies just lateral to that the uterus. And it is round and the cord-like due to thick muscular wall. So here you can see that is, this is the thick muscular wall and it is very much narrow and just present lateral to that the uterus. So this one. So that is the isthmus. Then next to it, that is the intramural part. So this one, innermost. So the intramural part, it is the segment of the uterine tube that travels the uterine wall at the junction of the fundus and the body. So it lies within the wall of the uterus and hence the name is called, that is the intramural part. The length of this part, it is only the 1 centimeter long. So these are the parts of the fallopian tube or the uterine tube. Then let's see, that is the structure of the uterine tube. In the structure from outside to inner side, uterine tube consists of the 3 coats. That is outermost coat, it is called the serous coat. Then middle to it, that is the muscular coat, and innermost, that is the mucous coat. So let's see, that is the serous coat. So the serous coat, it is derived from the peritoneum. Then the muscular coat, it is made up of the smooth muscle which arrange into the inner circular layer and outer longitudinal layer. And the innermost layer, that is the mucous coat, consists of the lining of the epithelium and underlying the lamina propria. Then the mucous membrane or the mucous coat, it plays the important role. The mucous membrane lining the tube present about the 6 primary longitudinal fold, which in turn give rise to a number of secondary and tertiary folds. As a result, the lumen of the tube becomes highly irregular, and that arrangement, it is help to provide nutrition to that the zygote from all sides. Then the lining of the epithelium, it is simple ciliated columnar epithelial cell, and it consists of the 2 types of cell, that is the ciliated columnar cell and the non-ciliated secretory cells. The secretion of the secretory cell provide nutrition to that the fertilized ovum, and the cilia of the ciliated cells, it beat towards the uterine cavity and help to transport the fertilized ovum. Then the blood supply of the fallopian tube. So arterial supply of the fallopian tube, it is supplied by the 2 arteries, that is the ovarian artery. So here you can see that is the ovarian artery and the uterine artery. So this one. So usually medial 2/3 of the tube, it is supplied by the uterine artery. So here medial 2/3, and the lateral 1/3, it is supplied by the ovarian artery. So this one. Then the venous drainage, that is the veins correspond to the arteries, thus the venous blood, it is drained by the ovarian and the uterine veins. Then the lymphatic drainage, the lymph vessels follow the veins and drain into the internal iliac lymph nodes, pre-aortic and the para-aortic lymph nodes. Now supply of the fallopian tube, which is supplied by both sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So the sympathetic fiber are derived from the ovarian and superior hypogastric plexus, and the preganglionic sympathetic fiber are derived from T11 to L2 spinal nerves. Then the preganglionic parasympathetic fibers to the lateral part of the tube are derived from the vagus nerve, and medial part from the pelvic splanchnic nerve, that is the S2, S3 and S4 spinal nerves. Then applied or the clinical anatomy. First clinical point related with that the fallopian tube, that is the salpingitis. So salpingitis means the inflammation of the uterine tube. It is called the salpingitis, and it is the commonest cause of the tubal block, leading to secondary sterility occurs in the female. Tubal infection is usually occurs due to the upward spread of the infection from the vagina and the uterus. The potency of the tubal block, it is tested by the two tests. That is, first it is called the Rubin's test. So here you can see that is the image, and in this, that is the air push into that the uterus, and if the tube is present, so the air leaks into that the peritoneal cavity, and the leakage of the air produce the hissing or the bubbling sound which can be heard by the stethoscope over the iliac fossa. The second investigation, that is called the hysterosalpingography. So here that is the image of the hysterosalpingography. So it is the radiological technique in which the radio opaque substances, that is the lipiodol, is injected into that the uterus by a suitable cannula, and if the outlines of the uterine cavity and the uterine tube, so this one, that is the uterine tube or the fallopian tube image, are patent, the contrast medium splits into that the peritoneal cavity, and if the blockage should be occur, so the dye cannot be spread into that the forward direction. So this is called the hysterosalpingography. Then the tubectomy. So this one. So it is an operation for the female sterilization, and in this procedure each fallopian tube, it is ligated at the 2 points, so here, and the segments of the tube between the ligature, it is resected, and this prevent the meeting of the male and the female gametes, and hence no fertilization, and this is the ideal method for the family planning in the female. Next clinical point, that is the ectopic pregnancy. So it is the commonest in the uterine tube, that is called the tubal gestation, and it is usually associated with the intraperitoneal hemorrhage, one of the cause of the acute abdominal emergency in the women of the childbearing age. So these are the clinical points related with the uterine tube or the fallopian tube.